So we're sitting here with Eagle, a distiller from Eimverk Distillery. We're gonna talk over the product range that he has in front of us here. And honestly, I would like to start off with the local traditional spirits, Brennivin.
So wheat is our Brennivin.
Yeah.
And Brennivin is, historically speaking, traditional schnapps in Iceland. It has been made for at least 100 years here.
Is there anything compared to Brennivin that you know of or you tried?
If you would compare it to something, you're just basically talking about akavit or herbal schnapps.
What am I nosing, and then what kind of characteristics should I be tasting?
Caraway seeds, and then you feel the subtleness of the barley, and then you feel the complex aroma and interplay between different herbs and botanicals. Obviously, what is key in this is we're starting with our whiskey base, double distilled barley base. So you still have the oils and the flavor of the rawness of the barley.
Yeah.
And this helps it be both more flavorful and more smooth. Okay. And what you're drinking here is 47% alcohol.
Yeah.
And it's still smooth.
Smooth, very smooth.
And it doesn't evaporate instantly and burn your throat or your tongue.
Nope.
So some would call this a very dangerous alcohol. Floki is a whiskey, and we do a traditional one, which is unsmoked. Then obviously we have to do a smoked one, because this is typically the two main big categories in whiskey, smoked and unsmoked. And using the traditions we have in Iceland of using sheep tongue to smoke with, obviously we wanted to do that because we're making Icelandic whiskey, and we want to maintain our Icelandic tradition. It sounds weird, sheep shit smoked whiskey, but it's not just done because it's cool or makes it interesting. It actually brings you a very interesting and very palatable smoked whiskey. Imagine being young and being at the family farm within the hay and the sheep and everything. If it brings you to that location, then you're pretty much in the right place.
I don't want something overpowering, and this for me is very subtle, easy drinking. Like I said, not on the rocks, just neat.
So what vor is actually means spring in Icelandic, and vor is authentic Icelandic gin, which is made with double distilled Icelandic barley, and then a third distillation with native herbs and botanicals, including Icelandic juniper berries. This gives us sort of a 19th century style gin, which is sort of a herbal style botanical gin, sort of almost in line with Genever, if you're familiar with that. So we're only using native herbs and botanicals that were growing here in 1900. This makes it a little bit challenging because there are not a lot of gins that don't have citrus or coriander in it.
Yeah.
And that doesn't grow here at all.
Yeah, exactly.
So we end up using herbs like rhubarb, crowberries, Iceland moss, and sweet kelp.
And it's still, it's so herbally. I can see why you won double gold, because that's mind-blowing itself. Not having the citrusy or the standard gin botanicals in it.
So let's move to the barrel-aged one, and this is our first reserve. But what we introduce here is a little bit of aging in a barrel, and that is also closely related to the history of gin. Because if you look at gin, when it started to be made in the 17th, 18th century, almost always at one point of its lifetime saw a cask, and that was simply because it was the most economical and efficient way to store spirit or liquid. So this is rested for 2 to 3 months on a American oak barrel. Slow gin is a typical type of gin in Britain. It is made by using slowberries, which is this small plum-like berry which grows in Britain. For us, we don't have slowberries. Instead, we use the native berries that we have in Iceland. So this is a mix of our barrel-aged gin and Icelandic blueberry and crowberry juice.
21%, you got to be careful of this right here.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, if you want to have a good party and people are not much for strong alcohol, bring one of those.
Bring one of those. My tradition is go from the last place that I was at, that I learned from, and bring their product and take it to the next distillery, brewery that I'm learning from. Extremely grateful for you to take your time to teach me a little bit about whiskey. This is from Oud Bersel. It's a 2013 Creek. This is from Hope on Hopkins from South Africa. When I was there, they made this incredible Mediterranean gin.
Thank you.
Yeah.